You guys, welcome back to my garden. In today's video, I'm going to be tidying up this area in my garden. I am finally opening up my second fountain of the season. I am so excited. I'm also going to share with you guys some of the challenges that I'm having in this area and the solutions that I came up with. Now, I have so many things to get done in this area. I'm going to just check them off one by one. The first thing I think I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with setting up these containers on drip. So let me show you the containers that we're going to be setting up on drip tubing, and that shouldn't take us very long to do. Alright you guys, so this area over here is the area that I'm going to be going in. I'm going to set these containers up on drip. This season in my garden, I'm trying to do as many things as I can to free up time and space, because I spend quite a bit of time hand watering my garden. Even throughout the winter time, I hand water it. Now, I'm not going to be using my drip system in the winter time. I will continue to come out and hand water my containers because I have a lot of containers, but hey, it just comes with the territory. Now, I'm going to get all of these trees over here, these standard hydrangeas, set up on drip tubing. But before I do that, I'm going to do something that I've been waiting to do for so long. Baby, I cannot wait to pull this tarp off of this fountain. So let's do that first. Okay, you guys, so the top of this fountain is full of water.
No!
Full of water. See, this is why I try to come as soon as we have, beginning of April, March, I try to come out here and at least pull the tarp off, because that is the most, okay, I'm not trying to get wet today, honey. So what I'm going to do, easy fix, no big deal. A little bit irritating, but no big deal. Okay, so let's see how much water is in there. I'm going to have to put you guys up first. You guys are going to have to tell me down in the comment section actually how much water is in this fountain. Is it a lot of water? Let me know. So, easy fix. So, in this scenario, it's two things that can happen. If I didn't have plants that were underplanted up underneath this fountain, I could easily go in and just pull the top off and let the water go everywhere. But did you see how dirty that water is? So I'm gonna tell you, plan B. Let me show you how we're gonna fix this, and it's gonna be real quick. Easy fix. Easy fix. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some paper towels, put it in the top of there, see how much water it soaks up. If it becomes too much, then I'll switch to another tactic. But let me see. And I'm going to have to get the ladder out here. Got the tarp off. She looks good as always, so I'm to set up my drip tubing first, and then I'm going to make my way forward and take care of the next thing. And then I want to show you guys what the tulips look like in this area. I'm a little bit sad about it, but we'll get to that. Let's get to this drip tubing. My distribution tubing along the back of these containers. Now, before I tap into these containers, I'm going to go ahead and set the top of my containers up. Now, I could run individual emitters to my containers, but because I'm going to have them mass planted with beautiful plants this season, I'm going to just run some drip tubing on the inside versus the individual emitters. So let me show you what it looks like. All right, so if you look at this tubing, let's let it focus. So if you see here, we have a drip hole here, a drip hole here, and then a drip hole here. So it just runs like that throughout the tubing. If you look in here, you can see I have the drip tubing, and I'm going to set the rest of these up like this. So let me go ahead and do that now. I got the drip tubing set up on all of these containers on this wall. I did not set up the 2 containers because there's a total of 6, so I only have 4 set up. I have to figure out how I'm going to try to trench in these other 2 containers, but if I have to end up watering just 2 containers in this area, well, we'll say 3 because the urn is also going to be planted up as well. If I end up having to come outside and water just 3 containers versus a total of 7 in this area, I'll be happy. Just anything to give me back time so I can be doing things that I love to do. I love to water by hand, but I would rather take some days off. Now, just because I have drip tubing set up, it does not mean that everything is one and done. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, because I'm going to still have to come out here, make sure I'm getting appropriate water. These standard hydrangeas can be expensive. If you find them on sale, honey, you better run with it. But for me and my garden, if I make the investment in standard hydrangeas or any plant, I'm going to try to do my best to take care of it the best way that I can. So we're going to start this video in the morning with some coffee. You guys know how we do it. So, see you in the morning. Well, good morning, everyone. So, we got our drip tubing set up yesterday. We still have a lot of things that we need to get done in this area. We're still going to open up the fountain. We're also going to touch up the benches in this area. If you look on the side here, you can see where the algae from last season, like here around the area where the water moves. So basically, you can do one of two things. You don't necessarily have to come in and scrub it off. The only thing it's going to do is give you a patina look quicker. But for me, I want my fountain to patina over time. So what I'm going to do is go in, add a little bit of bleach. Not very much. I'm going to scrub this off, and then that bleach water will also circulate through the pump as well. I'm going to add some algae killer. We get quite a bit of rain in the St. Louis region in the springtime, so I'm going to make sure I try to keep this water nice and clean. Now, what I try to use, I don't try to use a lot of bleach, especially on this one because it is out in the open. So my pups, well, let me change that. They used to be able to get to it, but I'll show you guys what's going on with these tulips underneath. I don't think they're going to have the access that they had last season. We'll definitely see. So let's go ahead, scrub this out, and then the fountain will be open. Yes! Now we have the fountain up and running. Now, I am going to go in, I am going to add a few drops of water clarifier, as well as add a few drops of algae prevention. And the reason why I'm going to do that is because we're in spring, we're getting a lot of rain. It will make the water turn greener faster. So as a preventative measure, I am going to go in and treat the water. Now, the tulips in this area. I'm getting ready to show you guys the tulips, but now that I'm thinking about it, I really did not plan out this area very well. The reason why I say that is because I went in and I put in maybe like 125 tulips in this area, right? I planted Proven Winners, Denim and Lace, Russian Sage. Now, if I would have been planting this area right, I would have added almost immediate protection for the plants in this area. As I was planting up the area and introducing to you guys what I was going to do, I clearly did not think about the fact that I have 3 standard dogs. This is their area. This is their land. Like to run up to the gate, look out, see if there's any traffic along the streets, bark at the kids, just typical things that dogs do in this area. But I should have thought about that and added that as part of my garden planning, because guess what? Throughout the season, they came, they trampled some of the Denim and Lace Russian Sage, which is okay. I can replace those plants. It was my responsibility to incorporate that into my design plan. So unbeknownst to me, while I was busy trying to save this show from a freeze, trying to do that from a freeze, completely forgot about the tulips over here in this area, right? And I do have some damage, but it's okay, because what I'm going to do, I'm going to come in this area and I'm going to add some fencing. Now, last season I wanted to come in and I wanted to add a fence around this area here. Now that's one of the things that I talk about often, is adding enclosure. I love enclosures. I love fences inside of a fence. It's just something about that because it almost makes the area its own. What I'm going to do for right now, until I decide if I'm going to go and fence this area out, is it going to incorporate nicely into the design that I'm doing in another area of my garden, I am going to surround my fountain with some fencing that I picked up. I'm going to line this bed real quick, rake out all of the old debris, any leaves that may be in this area, link my fencing, and then I'm going to train my standard hydrangeas as well. I have a few things to do on these hydrangeas, so actually let me start with that. Let me show you guys the damage first, because I've been putting it off because it kind of breaks my heart to look at it, but it is what it is, because guess what? You live and you learn, and this is my dog's home as well too. They live here. I'm not gonna get rid of my dogs because they trampled some plants. It is what it is. I should have incorporated that. Penelope, I would hate to think that the supervisor Penelope trampled any plants. But let's just be real and face it. It is not all Pegasus and Frieza, because if they're outside, they're playing, they're running around, they're chasing each other, they're not worried about, oh, we got to watch out for the plants. So what I'm going to have to do is just create a little bit of enclosure and it'll be fine. So let me show you guys what's going on. If you look, you can see where I have tulips full on this side, tulips, and this is the area where they typically run right here. You can see the high traffic area where they have beaten down the grass as well. You can see some of the tulips coming up as well, but you see the Russian denim and lace. I didn't go back and prune those back. Let me let the camera focus. I didn't go back and prune those out when I planted them, because when you prune, it kind of signifies growth for a plant. So since I was planting these in December, I didn't want the plant to think that it was okay to go ahead and flush out with new growth. So I kind of just popped it in its place, and it's okay. I'll go ahead and I'll replace these. Even though I did get these on sale at Sherwood's Forest Nursery, it's okay. I'll go ahead and I'll replace them because I did love the design. We also voted on if we're going to add boxwoods in this area, and yes, it was an overwhelming 100% yes to the boxwoods. So we are going to be coming in, we are going to be adding a hedge of boxwoods around the area, but I'm still going to have to keep a little bit of protection there, because by me having a male dog, he's going to like to lift his leg up and use the bathroom, and that's going to damage the boxwoods. So now I'm taking all of that into consideration, so it will have to be some form of barrier around this area. I have some benches over in this area. I wanted to get these painted up real quick, but the temperature has dropped outside. Dropping is really windy, and I really don't want to get any paint except for on the benches, so I'll be pushing that to another video. But let's go ahead, edge this grass up, and I can't wait for the finished polished look. So let's get it started. But alright, so we got everything lined in. You see this nice crispy line that we have going around. So let me show you guys, and I'm going to go slow so I don't make anyone dizzy. So everywhere you see a space at, right here, you see that space, this space right here, see the lining looking crispy. The space right here. As of right now, we got one denim and lace Russian sage right here, one that was right in this space, and then we got one right here that was pushing growth, and then the tulips right here. Some of them are still coming up. for right now, that's my temporary solution. Now, I am looking into if I'm going to come in and gate the area or do something more intricate around this area here. But the whole goal is to make sure I keep the pups out of this area. As this area continues to evolve, I am going to be going in, putting some boxwoods in. For right now, it's going to have to work. With these standard hydrangeas, I just went in and I clipped all of the side shoots that they had coming up along the stem of the standard hydrangea. Now, keep in mind, these standard limelight hydrangea were originally shrub form. They were taken and trained into a tree, which is very easy to do, but it takes a lot of patience and it takes quite a bit of time. Now, you do have some form of standards where they take the shrub and actually graft it onto a tree form. These are actually limelight hydrangeas, the big kind, not the little limes that have been trained into a tree form. So I have to occasionally throughout the season, especially in the early spring when they're putting on their new growth, I wait till they have enough growth at the top of the tree, which if I step to the side, you can see these beauties have come a long way from when I was last pruning them, fertilizing them, and you see what they look like now. Before you start to trim off the lateral shoots from the standard trunk, you want to make sure that you have sufficient growth at the top. All of this energy is then going to be pushed up to the top of the tree, and then you'll get your reward with your beautiful display of blooms later on in the season. We have a lot of things checked off our list. The only thing that we have to do in this area is plant them up, and then we're going to address the grass in this area. So that's for another video, so I'm not going to rant about it on this one. You guys have been with me since yesterday, hanging out while I came in, I tidied up this area, and I want to thank you guys for that. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.